Kids can basically smell a chess book and make massive chess improvement. Right? They don't even need to do that. I've known kids go from 1100, 1200 to 1900 without studying at all. Like, all they do is play and just make these massive rapid gains that are really impressive. Just comes naturally to them. But for adults, it doesn't seem to work that way, right? Whether that's a case of adults have got more commitments, haven't got as much time for hobbies, they're working, sometimes have got 2 jobs and things like that, and they come home and doing teas, or whether it's down to an adult's brain elasticity. I don't know, but the fact is adults don't make rapid progress. But so what? You're not going to be an international master or grandmaster. You can still make decent progress, still make good gains, where you can go down to a chess club and you can hold your own at a chess club. And I think that's absolutely fine. But the sad reality seems to be that most adults don't make decent progress. Indeed, many stay at the same level for years and years and years, sort of plateau. They get to reach a certain level, say 1200, 1300, and they sort of plateau on that level. They don't really seem to improve. Or if they do, it's small gains and small drops. So you're going up, going down, but roughly, if you follow that trajectory, it roughly follows the same sort of rating. But adults who do make progress seem to all have one thing in common, and that's studying tactics intensively and the correct methods. There seems to be a definite link between studying tactics correctly and improvement. So I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But the point is, the vast majority of chess games under 1800 level are lost and won due to tactics. Right? You can even argue 2000, even 2200 on some level, but certainly under 1800. Mostly, the most chess games are lost because of simple tactics, right? And they are simple tactics. They're not complicated, long calculation exercises where someone's missed a move like a mate in 6 or 7 or anything like that. Most games, you go back and you look at your own games and, games of people around your rating up, slightly lower, slightly above, and you'll see that the tactics are simple moves. They're 1 or 2 moves at mates, or they like simple pins, simple skewers, and things like that. So why is that? Well, that's because, in my opinion, people are not studying tactics correctly. Nowadays, people are getting better at studying tactics with things like Chessable. But in the past, it was because people are not studying tactics correctly. Right? And openings and positional chess and, end games, they've all got the place. They've all got an important role to play. But I think you've got to look at the facts. You look at the stats. It's tactical study where you've absolutely got to take as a top priority. Some adults do make rapid progress, like you might have heard of Michael de la Maza. He went to 2000 from being an unrated adult through high intense tactical study. It's a similar method to what I use myself. I didn't reach 2000, got to 1800, which is still pretty good. But I also came across an article recently by Alex Crompton. He did an absolutely amazing journey. He went from 300 on chess.com to 1500, I believe, in about 9 months, right? And I was amazed by that progress. But when I read through the article, I thought, well, this is because he has studied tactics in the right way, right? And what I mean by that is all of these methods are featured slightly different ways of going about it, but they all feature the same goal. And the goal is to get really, really good at the basics. Right, absolute master the basic patterns, there's basic pins, forks, skewers, and things like that. And it's done so by taking a set of those patterns and drilling them over and over again, like repeatedly, until you can look at a position and bang, it instantly pops out. You're not calculating. So how do you go about training this? Well, this is not a sales pitch for Common Chess Patterns and Chessable. I don't work for Chessable. Obviously, if people want to go out and buy Common Chess Patterns, that's absolutely fantastic, but you don't have to do that. If you don't like training online, you can do it with books. You can do it with, other websites. It doesn't have to be Chessable. But I do like Chessable because the space repetition algorithm is built into the software, right? So before Chessable was around and I was training in my own things, I would try and do it with different tactical sets and try and kind of like keep a record of the tactics. And it was all a bit messy and slow and cumbersome. And I would have loved to have had Chessable around 10, 11 years ago, but it wasn't. But the method is studying tactics, simple tactics, and a small set of those tactics over and over again until you can go bang, and you look at a position and it just jumps out, right? And the idea is that in a real game, then that would happen in a real game. Like, these patterns will jump out slightly different in slightly different forms, but the general pattern jumps out. And it might be that in your game that pattern doesn't work because there's a defensive sort of move to it, it won't quite work, but the idea is that the options, the patterns are jumping out at you all the time. And if that's happening instantly, you've got time left over to be calculating other things and looking at positional concepts. But you don't want to be sitting there constantly scanning for tactics, because that's burning your time in a normal chess. So I'm often asked, what do you prefer, the space repetition or the 7 circles type of drilling? Well, I much prefer personally the space repetition, where you drill tactics over a longer period of time. So it might be, 24 hours, and then the next day after that, and then maybe 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, 3 months, and it's gradually increasing sort of distance in time. I prefer that because I like the idea of the forgetting curve. So if you read up on the forgetting curve, I think it's important to allow your brain time to sort of forget so you can cement those patterns, right? But other people like the 7 circles, where you're cramming lots and lots of tactics within a short space of time. Personally, I don't understand that myself, because it's not allowing you to forget. And I think there could be a danger of you doing so much tactics in a small period, and then but 3 months later you might forget them. But it works for some people, and it's not a method I've tried, so I can't really comment on that. All I can comment on is the space repetition, which I firmly believe in for both for chess improvement and general improvement and learning, things for exams and things. I would use a space repetition over other methods. A word of warning though, it is hard work, it takes time and dedication and commitment to keep training and keep drilling these tactical patterns over and over again until you're getting quicker and better at it, right? It's not a quick fix. Anybody who tells you it's a quick fix is lying, or a kid, right? But you can be done. And I believe that you give yourself the best possible chances of rating improvement through sustained tactical exposure to small, simple patterns over a period of time. It's the best chance you've got at improving in your own ratings and in your own chess games, in my opinion, from what I have seen in my experience. Like I said, it's not a sales pitch for CCP, but if you are interested in that, I designed that for myself to train tactics later on in my chess playing career, or my hobby of chess improvement. And what I did is I broke that into 2 sections, isolated sections, where I trained myself over and over again on those isolated positions, and then the test sections where I tested myself, where there was more pieces and extraneous material in that position. I was hoping that the tactics to pop out, and they did. And then the caveat to that is that when you're playing games, do those positions pop up? And for me, they did, and for other people, they do as well. So if you want to sample that for free, I've got basic chess patterns where there's 50 positions in that course. You can go to Chessable. The link's in the description. It's absolutely free. You join Chessable for free if you're not a member of Chessable, and you can download that and you can play around with the method. And the method I would recommend, there are 25 isolated positions in that one and 25 test sections. I would do the 25 isolated sections over and over and over again until you get them, instantly, and then I will go and switch over and do the test sections. And they are easier than the main course. There's some of the easier ones from the main course. So even if you have the main Common Chess Patterns course, I would still get the free one as well, because you can drill both, right? You can never be exposed to too many tactics. It can only help, can only be beneficial in the long run. So if you're interested in reading more, I do recommend the Alex Crompton article. I will put the link in the description. And, throughout this video, I'm not knocking other methods of study. There are other ways to try and, increase dramatically your rating gains, like intensive study of the opening. But I just don't see that around. I don't see an adult improver who's jumped up significantly. And when you research them, why have they gained like 400 points and got to 1600 or whatever? Oh, it's because I studied this particular opening. I'm just not seeing that, right? I'm sure there are adults, and I know there are adults who are really good at openings and they've really clamped down on their opening repertoire, and it definitely helps them improve, getting positions that are similar, leading to end games possibly and things like that. But the absolute significant gains are those that do the tactics, or those study the tactics as a top priority. So if you've got any questions, just drop me a message, in the comment section, and I'll get back to you. And thanks for watching, and goodbye.